Value chain analysis. We all know that value chain analysis is a process for understanding the systematic factors and conditions under which a value chain and its firms can achieve higher levels of performance. In this lesson, we will discuss and define value chain analysis, discuss the importance of value chain analysis, and analyze the advantages and disadvantages of value chain analysis. After going through this presentation, you should be able to explain value chain analysis, value chain and investment, Porter's 5 forces, a model of industry analysis, limitation of value chain analysis, and why value chain analysis now. Value chain analysis was first suggested by Michael Porter in 1995 as a way of presenting the construction of value as related to end customer. Value chain analysis is a process for understanding the systematic factors and conditions under which a value chain and its firms can achieve higher levels of performance. It can increase your competitiveness, reduce your cost, and improve your market share. Value chain analysis can help an institution determine which type of competitive advantage to pursue and how to pursue it. There are two components of value chain analysis: the industry value chain and the organization's internal value chain. Value chain analysis is thus a means for examining internal processes and identifying which activities are best provided by others. The investment made by an enterprise in its value chain would depend upon the scope of its networking. A networking enterprise would retain the most indispensable portion of the value chain and would give all the other phases or stages to outsiders. A strategic entrepreneur would try for maximum networking possibilities and diversify his time and resources to near businesses to achieve an accelerated rate of wealth maximization. Michael E. Porter states that the structure of an industry should be analyzed in the terms of collective strength of 5 competitive forces. These are: first is the bargaining powers of suppliers. Factors affecting power to the supplier are number of suppliers, supplier's ability to integrate forward, presence of substitute inputs, and importance of the business unit's volume to suppliers. Second is the bargaining powers of buyers. For example, number of buyers, buyers' switching cost, buyers' ability to integrate backwards, impact of buyers, unit product on buyers, total cost, impact of buyers' units, quality or performance, and significance of the business units and volume to buyers. Third is the threat of new entry. Factors affecting entry barriers are capital requirements, access to distribution channels, economies of scale, product differentiation, expected retaliation from existing firms, and government policies. Fourth is intensity of competition. Factors affecting direct rivalry are industry growth, product differentiability, number and diversity of competitors, levels of fixed cost, intermittent capacity, and exit barriers. Fifth is threat from substitutes. Factors affecting substitute threat are relative price or performance of substitute buyers, switching costs, and buyers' propensity to substitute. Understanding the nature of each force helps the firm to formulate the effective strategies. Porter's 5 forces model has some major limitation in today's market environment. One of the criticisms of the 5 forces is that it assumes relatively static market structures. Technological innovations and dynamic market entrants from startups will completely change business models within short times. For example, the computer industry is often considered a highly competitive industry. Such industry structure is constantly being revolutionized by innovation. Another limitation of the 5 forces is that it provides a good framework for analysis but does not really consider issues around implementing changes to reposition for strategic advantage. Partly because of 5 forces simplification of complex relationship, such as in the structure of networks and cluster, new strategies, such as strategic alliances, electronic linking of information systems of all companies along a value chain, virtual enterprise networks, to some extent impair the applicability of the five forces as it used to be. There are three main sets of reasons why value chain analysis is important in this era of rapid globalization. First is, with the growing division of labor and the global dispersion of the production of components, systematic competitiveness has become increasingly important. Second is, efficiency in production is only a necessary condition for successfully penetrating global markets. Third is entry into global markets, which allows for sustained income growth, that is, making the best of globalization requires an understanding of dynamic factors within the whole value chain. Value chain analysis plays a key role in understanding the need and scope for systematic competitiveness. It helps in understanding the advantages and disadvantages of firms and countries specializing in production rather than services. There are a number of significant trends that are now driving the need for operations-oriented analysis from a value chain perspective. These include, first, increasing competition and the primacy of strategy. The value chain is first and foremost a strategic concept arising from a strategic theory of firm competition. This creates an increasing interest in value chains as a tool to model the extended enterprise and formulate strategies for how to remain competitive. Second is evolving governance models for the extended enterprise. This growth in modular or virtual collaborative enterprise business models has increased interest in the value chain as a primary construction for analysis of new models for business governance. Third is globalization of supply and production. The growth in global sourcing and supply has begun a long-term process of leveling the playing field for adding value worldwide. Fourth is many benefits already wrung out of manufacturing and the supply chain, improving the operational capability of other value-added activities in the enterprise, such as product development, requires shifting perspective from the supply chain to the value chain. Fifth is trends in management discourse. A final reason for the growing interest in value chains may simply be the nature of management fashion trends in academic and management discourse. Value chain discourse has come on as a strong contender in the past several years to fill the operations and supply management niche in management fashion, and may be ready for a continuing rise in popularity. Strategically, it is being positioned as a dynamic differentiator. Now let us check if we have understood the various concepts discussed in this lesson clearly. The value chain is first and foremost a strategic concept arising from a strategic theory of firm competition. Right or wrong? Right. Increase in production is only a necessary condition for successfully penetrating global markets. Right or wrong? Wrong. The aim of value chain analysis is to understand all the major constraints to improved performance or competitiveness. Right or wrong? Right. Before we end, let us briefly revise what we have studied till so far. Value chain analysis is a framework that can provide a number of benefits to the management of organizations. The use of value chain analysis facilitates the strategic management of an organization. Michael Porter's seminal work in strategic management explains the fundamentals of how organizations compete. This analysis can help managers of these organizations to identify linkages between value activities within the organization and to think in terms of process rather than function or department. Value chain analysis helps managers understand cost management problems. Competitive advantage is a position of a company in a competitive landscape that allows the company earning return on investments higher than the cost of investment. Competitive advantage should be relevant, unique, and sustainable. A core competency is a specific factor that a business sees as being central to the way it or its employees works. Organizations can achieve competitive advantage by focusing their knowledge management efforts in harnessing their assets and competencies in their core areas of operation, which can be identified by the value chain analysis approach.